language. Language has a subject and an object, but it's not the awareness of space consciousness. The awareness is the space consciousness. So in space consciousness is so simple to become aware of, just in a moment of no thought, but you haven't fallen asleep, you haven't fallen below thought. I call it, you can either rise above thinking, like right now in this moment, I can see you, and in this moment, you are present, but not thinking. There's nothing to think about. And in this moment, I am present, but not thinking. I'm not preparing the next thing I'm going to say, it just comes out. And you're not preparing the next question you're going to ask, but it'll come, but you don't need to prepare it. So you become familiar with that state of spacious awareness. And that is your essence identity. To be rooted in that, it's ultimately very simple. I don't know why they don't teach that at school. I mean, the most important is the transcendent dimension of life, of who you are. To find all the ancient teachings, using different terms and different words, they all point to this possibility of realizing the transcendent dimension of who you are. Whether the Buddha actually calls it, the translation is shunyata, emptiness, but the better translation would be spaciousness. Spaciousness in the sense-perceived world, the closest thing you can get to spaciousness is to look at the vastness of the sky or heaven. In many languages, heaven and sky is the same word. So you look at the vastness of sky, which is vast spaciousness. So the kingdom of heaven is the dimension of spaciousness. It's a dimension of consciousness that is possible to realize, and it's not hugely difficult. This is why then they asked Jesus, where is the kingdom of heaven? When is it going to come? And he said, the kingdom of heaven cannot come with signs to be perceived. You can never say it's over here or it's over there, because the kingdom of heaven is within you. Who you are, it's the essence of the universe itself, because you are just a microcosm of the universe. So when you realize the essence of who you are, the universe is realizing its own essence through you, this little thing, through you. It's such an amazing thing. Why this is not common knowledge, I don't know. And once you awaken to that, it starts with a simple thing. Become aware of a gap between two thoughts. Become aware that when you first look at something, let's say you go out into nature and you look up at a tree, and always in the first moment of looking, there's no mental noise, because you're just there as a presence that's taking in the sense perception. 2 seconds later, perhaps, the mind begins to interpret it and says something about it. But if you can catch the first moment, whenever you use your sense perception, you're listening to something, a sound suddenly arises, and you pay attention and you listen, and in that alert listening or that alert seeing when you first look at something, you can become aware. That's a natural arising of spaciousness. You don't have to do a spiritual practice when you become aware of that. And when you become aware of that in the first moment of sensory perception, there's no mental interpretation yet of the sensory perception. When you become aware of that can actually be prolonged automatically. That the interval before you name it, before you classify it, before you interpret it, there's an interval of still, spacious presence. And that makes your whole life much more deeply enjoyable. You begin to actually enjoy this world of form.